So, well, I would like to welcome you and use this opportunity to tell you a few things which I believe it's very important to be safe pilot, because as Felix also said, we want to become old pilots, and brave pilots doesn't have a very bright future. we used to be brave and crazy, but I mean crazy in a way that you say we are crazy, but actually we were just pushing the limits and try to learn to control our gliders, learning acro, and this looks pretty crazy for cross-country pilots who just fly straight and thermal and cross-country. When you go over your glider, that is already extreme. But now, after 18 years of flying, I can tell you that cross-country flying is more dangerous than acro flying.
Okay, no more eye checks.
I know you are laughing and you probably don't think it's serious, but I mean this totally serious, and I will explain you why. And I already said, because acro flying is controlling your glider. It's all about, you know, controlling it in a three-dimensional space and learning to control the energy, to control stalls, and all those maneuvers which you don't have to learn. It's not about. I'm not telling you that you will have to learn infinity tumbling and all these extreme maneuvers. That's really not necessary. But there is a few basic maneuvers which everybody should know, and everybody should be able to control them in a safe way. So this can really help you fly safer and help you, you know, have safer cross-country flights and just fly better in general. And I think, I think really this glider control in general in paragliding is very underrated and underestimated. That, you know, normally many times a paragliding course is about going to the training hill and do a couple of training flights on the small hill, and then they will take you up to a bigger hill, and then you fly down from the bigger hill, and then you go up to the big mountain, and you know, it's a really steep progression, really fast progression, and then, you know, the schools, then they will sell you another course, like, okay, now we do a ground handling course, or, you know, let's go do whatever, soaring, whatever, other course. But really, the very basic, the very fundamental of glider control is ground handling. You know, being on the ground, playing with your glider, learning, you know, to control it, which will make your takeoffs so much safer, which is one of the most dangerous part of our flying, is the takeoff. And the landing, of course. So if you don't know how to control it well, then you are already taking much more risk. And really, you should take these ground handling skills to a level which start to be fun and start to be really playful, where you are, you know, you have the control and you're like, yo, this is fun, and you know, you can do so many different maneuvers and take this to quite high levels. Which takes me to the next point, which is active flying. And you know, active flying, you know, you don't have to fly in the air to learn active flying. It's enough to ground handle, which is so much safer because you are safe on the ground. Of course, you shouldn't do this with really strong wind, because then it's again a little dangerous. But in ideal conditions, nothing serious really can happen. I mean, you might fall off. You might fall over, maybe the glider pulls you down to the ground, but really you are there controlling the glider, and by doing so, you learn how to avoid a collapse. You will learn when is the moment to give it a short but really big pump, and what to do if it loses the tension, how to save the glider from falling down, and how to correct these kind of things. So I think this is very something that everybody should practice a lot more. And I know it's tiring, and I know you know, you're sweating, and many of you don't start to fly because you want to be on the ground suffering with your glider. But this is the best, the easiest, and the safest way to learn to get to a much higher level of control, which will, for example, help you to fly safe in conditions like yesterday. Because yesterday was, you know, we didn't know, we take off, nice wind on the takeoff, and then the first time was like, ooh, ooh, ooh. It's like, holy cow, it's really, really bumpy and really turbulent, and if you don't have the skills to active flight, then you are actually in a very, very bad situation. And I saw in Goa, I saw a few gliders coming in, a few pilots coming in, and I was like, oh my God, I don't want to watch. I'm just praying that they come down safe, because you can see that the glider is moving in a way that it can collapse anytime. It's really, you are really in the hands of nature, because if there's a little more turbulence, then there's going to be a collapse. And unfortunately, there were some really hard crashes, landings, and it was only a matter of luck that there was nothing more serious happening. So today I was also, that's why I was really happy that we didn't take off, because it looked even more sketchy. So so just remember that you don't have to fly to become a good pilot, really. It's you, yeah, of course it's one thing, but learn to fly on the ground, learn to control the glider, you know, go to a small hill, you know, play with the wind. Maybe, you know, you have, I think you come all from countries where there is like a coastal side with nice smooth wind. Maybe you have a small 5-meter slope or a dune or something where you have, you know, a little bit of lift. So you can even, you know, learn where is the stall point and learn how to control your glider better. And the next thing. Okay, thank you.
Part 1 was excellent.
Part 1. Okay, so part 2.
But do you reckon to have a second glider to play on
Oh
the ground?
yeah, thank you, Felix.
This activity as a fun.
Exactly, good point. Of course, you don't want to destroy your 3,000, 4,000 euro competition glider, and it's also not really made to play around. So you want to have something basic that is easy to control, lower aspect ratio, and yeah, basically one easier glider to learn all these things with.
I have a question for you. Why select an easier glider to control when it's, let's say you're a big sandy beach, why not select a bigger glider to, like a high-end glider to try it?
Well, I mean, that's next step.
That's
next
your
step.
opinion.
It's, for basic training, you need something basic, because those gliders will collapse faster and more, and it's just much easier and more fun to play with the basic glider.
It's no better to have like a, for this kind of thing, acro glider, the one you can spin on the ground.
Yeah, that's.
And then this is skills from the spin coming from the ground also.
Yeah, this is one exercise of so many exercises. I don't really want to get into all the different exercises that you can practice ground handling. But what Felix is saying is,
the kind of glider
is yes, there is certain gliders can spin really nicely. So you can do this ground spin exercise where you turn around the glider 360 degrees, or just turn around the glider 180 degrees, so you have the leading edge facing the ground. So you can actually simulate a full stall, actually not a full stall, but a tail slide. Have the glider in tail slide because it is facing the ground, but because it is in the tail slide, you're keeping the glider over the ground. This is just one exercise of so many that is now no point of getting into this, but thank you for mentioning that. And my next point would be, I mean, just recently, for example, I lost a friend in Hungary. He died spiraling into the ground. He was a good pilot, he was doing wingovers, and he was a good pilot, but he bought a new glider. He didn't have so much experience spiraling, and he tried a spiral. He got a little bit too fast, and he didn't get it out. No blackout because he was actually screaming before. So anyway, this is now one tragical example. But my point is that glider control in the air, you know, which is not about thermaling and flying cross country, but the basic maneuvers, like the basic maneuvers, which is, and I don't mean the big ears and stuff because that's more than basic. By basic, I mean the spiral dive, full stall, which would be better be called like back fly or tail slide, because when you say full stall, you are thinking about this ball of bullshit, like, you know, like something really chaotic. And when you're in a tail slide, it's really actually perfectly controlled and smooth and gentle. And this is something that everybody should learn, because I'm watching so many videos on YouTube, so many crash videos and incidents, because I'm you know, maybe I know I created this Master Acro tutorial series, and I want to do more stuff, and I'm collecting a lot of videos and watching them, and almost all the videos are collapse, overreaction, spin the glider, stall the glider, and then being in the stall, having no idea how to control the stall, and then crash. So 95% of those people, if they would have a basic knowledge of how to control the stalls, then first of all, they would not stall the glider in that situation. And second of all, if they stall, then at least, okay, oh, no problem, exit. And they fly safe. So this is something really sad, because, I don't know, the paragliding business and the education of schools, it's not, you know, telling you this really. They try to mystify everything a little bit, and I'm not saying you should try these things by yourself. I mean, just collect the money, save the money to go to a good SIV training over water, some good altitude, and with a good instructor, and learn it and practice it, because this is something that you will make your flying really so much safer. And then there is the wingovers, which is already kind of like an acro maneuver. It's the first basic acro maneuver, but in fact this is not so much of an acro maneuver, because it's the control over the 3 axes we are flying. So, I mean, this is super basic. If you go to a private pilot course, you know, airplane like Cessna, you will not get your license without doing stalls and some basic emergency situations, which is really the basic. And in our sport, this is not considered as basic, but it's considered something high level, which some people never actually do. And maybe they are flying competitions for many years, and still they never did a full stall, or they are afraid to do a full stall. And I think this is a very, very bad direction. So, as I say, ground handling, active flying, spiral dive, tail slide, back fly, and wing over, with these 5 things, which is really not so much. You know, that some maneuvers, they take quite some time to learn and to really program them into your mind, so you can really do them without thinking and do them really safely. But once you get there, you will be a much safer pilot. And I really wish you to get to this level. Now, if I may use the opportunity to make some advertisement, there is the smallest package of Master Acro, which is 59 euros on the web shop, in the Just Acro web shop. This is including 1.5 hour of instructions, and it's including the spiral dive and the full stall. Like spiral dives, I think the 2 episodes are at least 40 minutes long, and it's really detailed. It's talking about all the aspects of you know, what you have to know, because if you go to an SIV training and you sit for 3-4 hours listening to the instructor, like I'm telling you things